So one of the major criticisms that people have of Bayesian estimation is the potential influence of their priors. It is true, priors can have a lot of influence on the results. I don't necessarily think that this is a bad thing, but we do need to be careful and weigh these criticisms that people have to try to address the issue head on. So it is true that priors can be subjective and they can impact the results. So how do we handle the uncomfortable feeling that we or other people have with the idea that subjectivity is influencing the results that we obtain? One way to handle this is to conduct a thorough prior sensitivity analysis. A sensitivity analysis of priors essentially examines a bunch of prior settings to understand the influence that they're having on the results. It can tell you how much impact the theory through the priors is having on the findings. It can also tell you how robust things are, how robust your findings are to different theories or priors. It's a really handy way to clearly detail the impact that the priors are having, and also to put the results into full context of the influence that your theory or the subjectivity that was embedded within your priors is having on your results. So if, for example, priors have a large impact on the end result that's obtained, then this could be an interesting thing for the field to recognize, because it really shines light on how susceptible results are to differing theories. A sensitivity analysis can help to uncover these facets, and I think it's something that should always accompany results. So on the other hand, the results might be pretty stable across different prior settings. Then this could also be important to recognize in the field. It means that the findings are not susceptible to different opinions or different theories via the priors. It means that the subjectivity of the priors did not influence the findings that were obtained. So regardless of the result, if your priors had a large impact or the priors didn't, it's still interesting, and it's a result that you will want to build on and highlight. And if you're writing a paper, really build the discussion around, because both paths lead toward, I think, an interesting insight regarding the specific question that you're trying to answer with your model. So when should you do a sensitivity analysis? Well, it honestly won't ever hurt to do it. Even if you use default diffuse priors embedded in a software, it can still be interesting to look at how other forms of diffuse priors will impact the results. It's also very helpful if you use subjective priors. Any critic of your priors will be happy to see that you followed it up with a full analysis and explanation for the exact influence that those priors had on the findings. So again, it will really put the findings into context. And in my view, this is something that should always accompany a Bayesian analysis. I think it can be harmful to rely on software defaults, especially with some types of models. And conducting a sensitivity analysis can really help to identify how stable results are if you're to shift those settings a bit. And if you use subjective priors, this process will definitely help to explain the influence that the subjectivity of your prior is having on the results. And I think it can help aid in improving and creating a much deeper understanding of what's actually going on. There are several main steps for conducting a sensitivity analysis. The first step is that the researcher needs to decide on the priors that are being used. They are the analysis priors that you would report in your paper. You're not going to change these priors. That's not the role of the sensitivity analysis. Instead, the role of it is to help you to put your original priors into a deeper context. So you need to come up with your priors, whether it be that you're using default settings or you are referencing a meta-analysis or just using your gut feeling, interviews with an expert, whatever it is, you should fully define your priors and then justify why they look the way they do, why you've specified them in that particular way. And in my view, you should not deviate from these as being your final model priors. No matter what the sensitivity analysis tells you, you would just move on with the process and hopefully then have a clear understanding of the impact of those priors, but that you aren't looking to change them in this analysis as a result of what you've seen. The second step is ensuring that your model is fully defined. So you already have your priors set up. Now you can collect your data and form the likelihood with your model. Step 3 is going to be to estimate the model with your data and your original priors. Make sure that you obtain convergence and that results look viable for all of the model parameters. And then you can move on to step 4. This is where the sensitivity analysis comes into play. In this step, you will come up with a series of well thought out competing priors. These will be like comparison priors that you will use to compare to the original priors. No set of priors is better than another. So this is just to show you how the posteriors are influenced or how robust they are to different prior settings. Step 5 might include many different analyses because in this step, you need to actually estimate the models for all of the different sets of competing priors that you came up with. Then you will start to make comparisons of results to your original priors. Next, in the 6th step, you'll want to write up everything that you just did. So you write up why your original priors were selected, what the results look like. Then you'll write up why your sensitivity analysis looked the way it did, why the prior settings were selected, and then you'll talk about the results you obtained with those new sets of priors. And be mindful to really delve into a comparison. Were the results stable and comparable, or did the results differ when new priors were introduced? I will later provide specific methods for reporting this information in a lesson toward the end of the course on transparency and reporting standards. But the point of this is that you will be responsible for telling the full story of why you picked the priors that you did and how they compared to alternative priors. Then you can tie this into substantive issues that are linked to your specific field. If you do a thorough job thinking about the implications of what you found, I think it can really drive the content of discussion surrounding your paper, but also potentially push your field further in meaningful ways. So next, I'm going to show you a hypothetical example for how a sensitivity analysis might be conceptualized. In a later lesson, as I mentioned a minute ago, I will show you how to display results in a table format. In this example, let's say that we have a regression coefficient and we're interested in doing a prior sensitivity analysis for it. The prior that we selected for this coefficient is normally distributed. It has a mean of 1 and a variance hyperparameter of 0.5. This is a subjective prior that we came up with, and we want to see how the results under this prior compare to other prior settings. A completely thorough sensitivity analysis, which may not be practical as the size of your model grows, but it would be to systematically alter each of the hyperparameters. So in other words, we would have some models where the mean hyperparameter would be altered, and then some models where the variance hyperparameter would be altered. This would then give us a complete picture of the influence that each of these hyperparameter settings have on the final results. So the first thing that the researcher would do could be to tackle one hyperparameter at a time. For this slide, we can look at the mean. So we can leave the variance set at 0.5 for all of these analyses and just alter the mean hyperparameter. A thorough investigation would be to have settings that are higher than the original setting of 1, as well as settings that are lower than that original setting. So in this case, I picked 4 settings that are lower and 4 settings that are higher. These would be 8 additional models that I would be running to look to see how the results differed if I shift that mean hyperparameter a bit. It's your job as a researcher to determine what a bit means. What exact hyperparameter values do you want to study in the sensitivity analysis? So after running the models for the different mean hyperparameter settings, you can look at the variance. So in this case, the original variance was 0.5. I can change that setting to be lower and then also to be higher. So really a lower variance is just going to make the posterior more precise around the mean, which was 1. So I think the most substantively interesting settings in this part of the investigation would be to check to see what happens if I loosen the variance a bit. So we can check both, but my feeling is that given the values that we're dealing with, it will be more interesting to focus on larger settings to see how, if we have a more diffuse prior, how that would impact or influence the end result that we get. So what do you do with all of this information? Well, I have a fun little shiny app that I put a link for down here, and it's something that you can play with for free. It has a simple model built into it, and you can look to see how changing the priors for the parameters can change the posterior distributions. There are some examples here for how you can report the findings, but I think as you're getting acquainted, that it's most interesting just to see the differences in the posteriors and then think about how you would tie that into driving a final conclusion about the model. So if you have some time, I encourage you to play around with the app because it's a nice way to get acquainted with sensitivity analysis. So this issue of prior sensitivity will pop back up a few more times before the course is over. It's a really important issue. You now have a basic foundation for what it is. You know not to change your original prior. You know that there's no wrong result that you can obtain. Results might be very sensitive to changes in the priors, and that's interesting. They might also be very stable if you shift your prior. That's also interesting. And it's a topic overall where there's always an upside. It will help people to see that you're not trying to cherry pick results that you like by using a subjective prior. It also helps you and the field to make sense of the particular topic you're studying and look to see how stable the findings are, or maybe they're volatile, and that's very interesting. So I've mentioned several times, but changing your priors after you see the results for the sensitivity analysis is a big problem. This would be considered Bayesian harking, which is hypothesizing after the results are known. In my view, we should all be mindful as possible to avoid this type of research practice, because I think it can appear deceiving or even dishonest, and that is not the direction that we want to head with our own work.